Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies, but we're going to make fresh banana cookies. It's easy, it's quick, and what a great tasting cookie. So let's get started. First off the bat, I no longer put the ingredient list or the directions below the video, and I'm sorry about that. So if you want to jot down the recipe, I like to go off, right from the beginning so you can get those ingredients and the amounts that you need to try this cookie recipe if you so decide to do that. So first up, very quick, you can do it by hand. You could use your hand mixer. I'm using my stand mixer because I think it's faster for the video, but you choose what's best for you. Now we're going to probably put all the ingredients in a row, and I know there's some folks out there that write and they prefer that one is blended with the other, but this is a friend of mine gave me this recipe, and she said this is how she did it, and she had really good results. I've done it her way, and I got excellent, very good and excellent results. So first, what you're going to start off with is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to repeat that. It's 1.5 cups. The next thing that you're going to need is about 2 bananas. Now, the ripe bananas are going to be your best bet because not only are they, easy to mash and crumble, but they're sweeter. You can use fresh bananas that aren't ripe, but I think you'll prefer if they are ripe. So you want to have at least 2 medium to maybe a large and a medium. If you like a lot of banana flavor, you can always add a half a banana. You might have it at home, or it's ripe and you don't want to throw it out, that kind of thing. But about 2 medium to, not the super large or a large banana would work. Just go ahead and mash them. I cut them up and just with my clean hands, I break them up, to be honest with you, especially if they're ripe. They're not hard to break up, okay? The next thing you're going to be putting in after you put those 2 bananas or 2.5 bananas, your choice, we're going to put 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And again, we're just putting, as you notice, everything we're just putting in there. The next thing that you're going to need is 1/4 cup of butter. Now, if you don't have butter and you have margarine, I melt mine in my microwave and I let it sit to cool because we're going to put eggs in and we don't want to make scrambled eggs. So use margarine or butter. I prefer butter, but the margarine, I've done it with margarine and I got compliments on it too. So feel free to give that a try, okay? The next thing you're going to put in is 1 egg at room temperature. And I found whether I use medium or I use large, it came out excellent. It really did, okay? The next thing that we're going to be putting in is 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. If you want to downsize that a little bit, you can go to 1/4 teaspoon if you prefer on that, okay? Because I know a lot of you like to adjust recipes and that kind of thing, and it makes it fun. So if again, 1/4 or 1/2, you decide of how much vanilla that you want to put in, okay? The next thing is put 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then you will need salt. So put 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just going to turn on my mixer to bring it all together. And I'll warn you about the sound because it can be loud on your end. picked up the speed. I normally wouldn't. It would probably take me a couple minutes to do that, but I wanted to move it along due to the video. And as you see, I pulled out my paddle, taking off the excess. And I do that because, as we know, ingredients are so expensive now to buy that I just hate to waste anything. Okay, so we'll put that aside. And then with my spatula, I'm just going to go through and make sure that it got to the bottom of my mixing bowl, and give it a good stir. Now, I will tell you, when you bake these, oh, your whole kitchen will smell so good, like bananas. Oh, especially if you're a banana fan. Now, it will be a wet dough. It will be a heavy dough. So, please expect that. Now, if you like nuts and you want to put some chopped nuts in, use whatever kind of nut that you prefer. Try about 1/4 cup. It has worked well. These I'm leaving out today because the person that's going to be eating these that I'm giving them to cannot eat nuts. So, but you want to put 1/4 cup. You want to put whatever else in it. You can put chocolate chips in it. It's really up to your imagination. Okay. And I'm using my parchment paper today on my pan. Now, bake them at a lower temperature, and for some reason I just went blank on the temperature. 325. I'm sorry. 325 degrees in a preheated oven. And the cookie itself, I like to get about a dozen out of them because I like a fairly large cookie, so someone can really enjoy a nice large cookie. And it's probably, on this scoop, I would say, just guessing, maybe 3 tablespoons, 3.5 tablespoons. And I like to use a scoop because I think they come out more uniform. And spread them out. Spread them at least, 2.5 to 3 inches apart. Now, if you don't want to get a dozen and you want to get more of them, just make the cookies smaller, but adjust your baking time, okay? And you can see they go down quite nicely with the scoop. Now, if they don't come out round, because I know a lot of people, they want consistency and size and what have you, then just take your spatula, whoops, I'm being a little messy here, and take your spatula or, your clean hands, a finger, and just kind of round them out a little bit. If you don't like where cookies kind of come out different shapes and that kind of thing, you can round them out so they don't come out looking pear-shaped or that kind of thing. Okay, we just have a little bit of the tip of a banana. I didn't even realize that was in there, but I found it and I got it out. Okay, so anyway, you get the gist of it, okay? And what I like to do is I take the chocolate sprinkles and I just use a teaspoon, and I'm quite generous with it. I would say I try to put out like, a little more than 1/2 cup of these. And you can, garnish them whatever you want. You can garnish them with sugar if you want. Granulated sugar, colored sugars, but I think that bananas and chocolate go so well together that I found this was really kind of a winner for me, okay? So just to give you an idea, I'm not going to bore you with them. And you're going to bake these anywhere from maybe 15 to 20 to maybe even 22 minutes. Now, you will want to wait till they have a nice golden brown on the top and the edges, okay? And then let them sit on the pan for a minute or two before you move them to the cooling rack, because they're going to be, where they're going to break up on you. They're going to crack on you. So keep that in mind, okay? Now I'm going to rinse my hands quickly because I was working with a raw egg here, because I want to show you what they look like once they're baked up, and to tell you a little bit more about the texture of the cookie and what have you. And here they are. Again, I got 12 cookies out of this size, and you can see they are quite big. When I put them in the palm of my hand, again, you could make them larger, you know, if you want to make jumbos and get 6, or you can make more. Just adjust your baking times, okay? But again, it has sort of a golden brown on the top, the nice golden brown on the bottom. Now I must warn you, this is a soft cookie. It's soft, it's chewy, it's fluffy, but it's not crisp. Now you might think, well, I'll bake them a little longer, and you can, and they'll become a little bit drier. But if you're looking for a nice dry crisp, you know, where you break them and you hear that nice crack, this is not the cookie for you. But if you like chewy cookies, especially, or children at different ages with chewing and whatever, it's an easy, a very easy cookie to eat because it is very moist. And as you see, I'm starting to break it apart, okay? And on the inside, it's there. I would say light to medium as far as the density. And then when you squeeze them, I don't know if you can see, but they're very moist. So they're not a real dry cookie. They become almost like a cake cookie, if you know what I mean by that, okay? But again, they are delicious when you bite into them because they have that little bit of a chew of a sort of a cake. It's just a delightful cookie with a cup of coffee or a glass of chocolate milk or that kind of thing. And oh my gosh, you smell that wonderful fresh banana. And it's a good recipe to make when you have you know, leftover bananas where you don't want to throw them out because they're ripened. So what a great way to use them and enjoy them in a cookie. Now, very quick, again, sorry about not putting the recipe on, but I'm not alone on this, but I got tired of seeing my work pinned and posted and people claim it as their work. And when I would always ask people at the end of the video, please, if you try this recipe, let me know. Let me know how you liked it or how your results were, and you know, I'll answer in a timely fashion. But I'd find questions from folks that took the time to write to me on these different sites, and I couldn't answer them. It became frustrating and it wasn't worth anymore. And again, I'm not alone on this. So please remember that I only put my videos on YouTube. So if you watch me on YouTube, you write to me through YouTube, I will get your question, I'll get your comment, and I'll do my best to answer it very quickly, all right? If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, well, I can't thank you enough, or ring the bell. I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.